and thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me. This is Joy. I hope that you are continuing to nurture your soul needs as you journey beyond narcissistic abuse. To everybody who is new to this community, I welcome you and thank you. It's my sincere hope that you are met by a loving, supportive community and that you are inspired as you continue your journey of healing. Welcome back to all the returning members. I truly do appreciate you all. I want to talk to you today about the narcissist demonic assignment. Listen, the narc wants to press Control Alt Delete, and I want to talk about on what and why. You know, when it comes to narcissism, I know some people will tell you that this is a mental health issue, and if they want to look at it at that perspective, that is completely okay. But what I do know for sure is that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So when it comes to these principalities, when it comes to this wickedness in high places, what exactly is it? When we think of the devil and the characteristics of the devil, I'm going to mention just a few of them. But it's real startling how they kind of line up with narcissists. The devil is a liar. He is a thief, a murderer, an accuser, a deceiver, an instigator, a conman, an enemy of mankind, is selfish, and the devil is also a bum. Yeah, that's right, a bum. And this, you can verify that in Job Chapter 1, verse 7, he was bumming around looking for a target. One thing that is promised to all of God's children, to believers, is an eternal and joyful existence with God. It's an inheritance that cannot perish, spoil, or fade, and it is kept for you in heaven. And you can reference 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 4 for that. And this, again, is for all who belong to God's family. And, you know, when it comes to narcissists, you find that for many of us who are believers, who are walking, you know, with a goal of getting closer to God, you find that once involved with narcissists, this is one relationship that we have that becomes strained. The narcissist has a way of turning our eyes away from God or stealing our focus. A lot of times in these relationships or transactionships, as they are better known, is that it makes you question God's love for you. When that's the one thing that should not be questioned, his love was freely given, as is demonstrated in how he gave his son freely for all of us. But because of the experiences that we have at the hands of narcissists, you find that we ask questions, well, why does God allow these things to happen? And it makes us forget the pain that we experience. It makes us forget or take our eyes away from the fact that every single person has been given free will. And some are using their free will to exercise dominion over other people. And to them, dominion looks like abuse. Narcissistic abuse. And so because of that, we lose our focus or we are distracted. Because of these type of relationships, you feel unworthy of God's love. You feel distant from God. You feel guilty and ashamed for these relationships. This is one common theme that I've been seeing in a lot of the comments lately, but I want to remind you, or I just want to say to you, if you are a person who is experiencing these type of feelings, please know that the gardener is always closest to the vine when he is pruning. Pruning is not an easy thing. It's not an easy experience. It's painful. Think about the clippers that cut. That's a painful experience. But remember that the gardener is always closest to the vine when he is pruning. The narcissist wants to wipe away your memory bank. The narcissist wants to hit Control Alt Delete on who God said you are, so that you can be free. So your mind actually can be free, so that memory space can be created to begin to indoctrinate you with what the enemy wants you to believe about who he wants to say that you are. Because if the enemy is successful in getting you to see yourself through his dirty, tainted lenses, you will forever remain part of his plan, and he will rob you of that inheritance because you will no longer believe in who God says you are, and you will no longer believe in God. This is one of the enemy's primary goals. This is why the work of the narcissist is demonic. This is why the narcissist is on assignment. This is why I say that you are the narcissist's assignment. It's not the other way around. The super empath, the empath, you are not called to go out and work on the narcissist. No, it was the other way around. They are coming after you. Your assignment is bigger than this. You see, the narcissist works so hard to gain your trust. They get you to open up and share parts of your life. Tell everything that you've ever been through. They'll even share some story that they may have snatched from somebody else's soul and make promises that they will treat you better. All of this is strategic so that you can lower your guard and that you can feel that you are safe with them. That is deception. They have no plans on caring about who you are. They're Conman, remember, just like their father. But once you've let your guard down and you've allowed them to be part of your life, they begin to point out your insecurities. They highlight all the failures that you've experienced, failed relationships, failed businesses, whatever you have shared. They even have the nerve to dig into your wounds, into situations that you had no control over. For some of you, it's childhood trauma. Some of you, it's going through divorce of your parents or just some traumatic experiences, whatever it is you shared. And they systematically blame you for that. The narcissist projects all their vile funk onto you, all the devil's Kool-Aid onto you. And in the process of all this verbal abuse, it wipes out who you knew you were, who you knew yourself to be before you ever met this raggedy, dusty, filthy creature. And people begin to feel or ask themselves, I just want to be who I used to be. How do I get back to being who I was before I ever met the narcissist? This is their goal, to keep you from ever being who you were. Because in their limited capacity of thinking, just like their father, the devil, they forget that God is an ever-changing being. He is always, always evolving. And as his direct descendant, as his child, you are always evolving too. And so they can never diminish your capacity to be, unless they successfully hit that Control-Alt-Delete button. If you have escaped from the narcissist's clutch, I encourage you to do everything that you can to stay away from them. If you are struggling with all the mental games that you have encountered with the narcissist, I want to encourage you not to believe anything that the narcissist said. You are not worthless. You are not hopeless. You are not used goods. You are not incapable. As a matter of fact, you are the complete opposite of all of those things. You are loved. You are cherished. You are the apple of God's eye. You are more than a conqueror through him who loves you. You're the head and not the tail. The mind of Christ is upon you. You are God's child, and there is an inheritance attached to your name. I want to encourage you to not give up hope. I want to encourage you to hold fast to the profession of your faith. Remember, faith comes from hearing, and hearing comes from the word of God. Continue to get knowledge on what narcissistic abuse is and how best you can recover, but also spend time in your word, spend time in prayer and seeking God's face so that he can continue to develop you. Thank you so much for your time today.